Welcome everyone to Webinar Wednesday with Click to Science. My name is Sandra Frericks and I'll be hosting our webinar today on why STEM is important to young people. And we'll be sharing some resources that you can use in your program along with some research about STEM and what impact it's going to have on the young people in your programs, particularly moving into their future. Again, my name is Sandra Frericks. I'm the Science Education Specialist with Click to Science, and I'll be hosting your professional development for today. This webinar is being recorded, so you'll be able to come back to it later, or if you want to share the webinar or some of these resources with your staff, you can use it for that purpose. Out-of-school programs can help young people see that STEM is more than an assignment in school. And this is really important in how they think about science, technology, education, and math. Out-of-school STEM activities help them experience how what they're learning in school is pertinent to their future and the future of the whole world. Introducing children to great STEM experiences starting in elementary school years is critical for preparing them for the future. This webinar will explain the why and how of creating STEM experiences that can make a difference in the lives of all the children in your program, regardless of whether you're an elementary, a middle school, or an after school or high school program. So thank you once again for joining us, and we hope that we will have a wonderful interactive experience. I encourage you to use the chat box to share questions. My preference would be that you select all panelists and attendees unless you have a question specifically for me so that we can keep the conversation going with everybody. I know that you have a lot that you can learn from one another, not just from me on this topic. So I encourage you to use that chat box and to keep making it part of how you communicate and how you learn. All right, I'm going to share a resource with you. See if I can get my share screen working. There we go. Okay, let's begin. The first thing I want you to think about is how STEM pervades every part of our lives. Science is everywhere in the world around us. Technology is continuously expanding into every aspect of our lives. Engineering designs our roads and bridges, and it also tackles the challenges of making our lives more efficient. And mathematics is in every occupation and activity that we do in our lives. So understanding STEM is going to matter no matter what career path young people take, and being literate and strong in STEM skills is going to prepare them to be successful in life, to be successful in their work, to be successful in their family, and hopefully to have a more fulfilling and enjoyable life as well. And that's why it's important to have not just important STEM experiences, but engaging experiences that help young people see themselves as the type of person that does STEM. This is a career clusters model. It happens to be from Nebraska Department of Ed, but I suspect that most of your states have a similar model that helps coordinate what is happening in the school day with future career paths that young people might follow. And what I want to emphasize in this webinar today is that when we provide STEM learning experiences in out-of-school time programs, we should strive to connect those to the sorts of experiences that they are having in school, but also really emphasize developing a passion for STEM that will motivate them to keep them engaged in STEM, to keep them learning and enjoying STEM experiences. That's because as they stay engaged in STEM learning experiences, they continue to build the skills that are going to be helpful in all these different career paths, no matter what pathway they follow in their life. Activities that show the real-life implications of STEM can pull together for young people the ideas that are presented in school and help them see how their STEM learning in the classroom benefits society and the world as a whole. Children can see that what they are learning now is pertinent to their future and the future of the world around them. And these experiences create interest that is often lacking when STEM is just focused on learning from textbooks or when it is presented as unrelated subjects and they don't see connections between what they're doing in their technology class, and their science class, and their math class. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics workers play a key role in sustaining the growth and stability of the U.S. economy. They're a critical component to helping the U.S. win the future. And it is clear that most jobs in the future will require a basic understanding of math and science. According to the U.S. Department of Commerce, STEM occupations are growing at 17%, while other occupations are growing at 9.8%. So STEM degree holders will have a higher income than non-STEM careers. Beyond that, there's also a gap in technical skills. There is a high demand for workers to fill middle-level technical positions now, and more than half the jobs in the current labor market are comprised of middle-skill jobs, but only 43% of workers are trained for these jobs. So one of the things we are addressing as we provide young people with STEM learning experiences is preparing them for the jobs that are projected to be part of their future, and to give them the opportunity, the access to these sorts of jobs. There's a video that I want to share from that talks a little bit, well, it doesn't have audio, but it addresses this idea of what jobs of the future are going to be. Remember, there's no audio on this video, so if you're not hearing anything, that's okay. All right, let me get back to this. I just wanted to share with you that video to kind of show what the future might look like, and what we're trying to prepare young people for. My biggest takeaway from that is that the jobs that many of our young people are going to be looking at, are going to be open to them, don't even exist today, especially if you're working with children in elementary school. So we need to be building in them skills that will help them be successful when we don't know exactly what the opportunities will be for their success. So we need to help them be flexible and have good problem solving skills that they can use no matter what sort of career pathway they might follow. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. So the bottom line is what young people in our programs need is STEM. In the 21st century, science, and technology innovations have become increasingly important as we face the benefits and challenges of both globalization and a knowledge-based economy. To succeed in this new information-based and highly technical society, students need to develop the capabilities in STEM to levels much beyond what was considered acceptable in the past. And that means that what we have done in the past to prepare children may not be enough. And that's one of the reasons that I think after school programs have a very important role to play here. What they're learning in school may not give them enough different types of experiences to prepare them for this workplace of the future. And it's also true that they're not just preparing for work, they're also preparing for life. And STEM can help them develop the skills that they're going to use in other areas of their life as well. That means that our role in after school is more than just providing STEM learning experiences. Our role is providing them STEM experiences that give them opportunities to learn and practice critical skills like collaborating, understanding, and solving problems, developing social and emotional skills like personal awareness, empathy, and decision-making that will help them live and work with others. So these STEM skills for life come from after-school programs that provide intentional programming designed to develop these skills and also help children reflect on the skills that they're developing and see how they apply in other areas. If you want to learn more about the social emotional skills and STEM, our webinar from last month was on the topic of social emotional learning and STEM. And you can go to our webinars page on the website and see the recording of that webinar. It talks about specifically skills like social emotional literacy, collaborating, communicating with others, personal awareness, and empathy, the skills that are going to build success in all areas of life. I want you to think about this idea of how we start building skills for young people at 6 or 7 years old when children first come into our program, and then provide them a ladder of skills that help them develop as they grow. The report, Building Workforce Skills in After School, published last year, does a great job laying out the role some after-school programs are already taking in helping youth develop the skills they will need as they enter the workforce. And also it addresses how all programs can connect with their community and be part of workforce development in their own community. The report emphasizes that programs can focus on communication, teamwork, and collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving in elementary school, and then add additional experiences like career exposure in middle school and real-world work experiences in high school, so that children are continuing to move up this ladder to build the skills that are going to help them be successful after they finish schooling. I like this quote here from Krishna Vedati, especially where she says, getting children curious about math and science at a young age gives them a base to build upon. And that's really part of what we can do in after-school programs to really get them engaged and thinking about STEM in a positive way so that they're prepared to learn and build their skills and connect their school experiences to the experiences they're having in after school. Another important part of why STEM matters to young people is that STEM fosters innovation. Across all ages, STEM learning experiences create critical thinkers, increase science literacy, and enable the next generation of innovators. Whether they're extracting DNA or building ramps with wooden blocks, young people are learning about STEM and engaging with their world through the activities that they have in out-of-school time. Innovation by young people leads to new products and processes that sustain our economy. Innovation and science literacy are built upon a strong knowledge base of experiences and learning in STEM. And without access to high-quality STEM experiences, large segments of the youth in our programs will be ill-prepared to effectively participate in the modern STEM-based workplace. So if students, particularly students who are at risk, don't have these sorts of experiences, we are setting them up to be left out of their future. And that's a critical component that I think all of our programs can work together to make sure that all students are prepared to be part of these STEM experience opportunities and no one is left out. In the past few years, our field has really stepped up to address this need for high-quality STEM experiences, and we can see that it makes a difference. Here's some of the research that has happened in the last few years about STEM experiences and out of school. Research examining the impact has found that the more consistent a student's participation in after school is, the greater their gains in math achievement. And for low-income students in after-school programs, they were even able to see the achievement gap between them and their peers closing in math and reading. So this is really important. We are able to help children excel in STEM, and it carries over into other areas as well. And furthermore, we're closing the gap between children who have had access to a lot of different types of experiences and those who have not. The same team also found that students who participate regularly in after-school programs improve their school day attendance and the higher their participation in after school is, the greater the improvement in their attendance and behavior at school, even to the level of reducing the dropout rate for low-income students. So not only are they having positive experiences in after-school programs, but those experiences are motivating them to have better, consistent, positive experiences in the classroom as well. OST programs have the capability to provide STEM activities that allow room for experimentation, for failure, and for building skills. In the full STEM Ahead report, 69% of the parents surveyed from over 30,000 households nationally reported that their children have access to STEM opportunities in after school. So we know that programs are providing these experiences, and 89% of those families are satisfied with the STEM experiences and opportunities their children are having in their after-school program. Furthermore, low-income, African-American, and Hispanic parents valued STEM even more than other parents. So that's even more important to families whose children have been traditionally underrepresented in the STEM fields. And perhaps that's because they sense that it's making a bigger difference for their children, or perhaps it's just because they value these experiences and they know that after school is the best place for their children to have high quality STEM experiences. So it's important to understand that STEM experiences make a difference for young people. We see gains in their achievement in math and reading, in their attendance, and in their graduation rates from participating in high quality after school programs. And we also see that parents are noticing that their children are having STEM experiences, and 89% of them are satisfied with the quality of those experiences. So we're already doing this in after school programs. What I'm encouraging you to do is be as intentional about it as you can so that we can have the most impact on young people as possible. I'm going to stop sharing the slides here for just a minute because I have one more video that I want to share with you. And this one comes from the US News STEM Solutions Conference. And it's a 5-minute video, so I'm not going to share the whole thing, but I will put the link in the chat box if you want to go back and watch the rest of the video.
In May, U.S. News & World Report hosted the 6th Annual STEM Solutions National Leadership Conference in San Diego. The forum brought together industry executives, educators, nonprofit and association leaders, government officials, and many more from across the country to focus on improving STEM education and workforce development.
Today we hear a lot about workforce development, and a lot of that is because we have lots of jobs, and we have lots of people that are looking for jobs, but those jobs and the skill set that people have are not necessarily well matched. So this whole focus on workforce development is really aimed at trying to take people and give them the training and the skill set they need to fill jobs that are available where people are needed.
From an industry standpoint, we want to have a ready and robust pipeline of people that we can bring into the work that we do.
If the world didn't change, it would be absolutely useless to have workforce development. But if we think about what's happening, the world changes. Everything changes. Technology changes. Country boundaries, everything changes. So we need, as employers and employees, have to actually get engaged in this as well, to actually keep ourselves up to the challenge and to the knowledge level.
And with so many challenges facing our nation, from infrastructure to the environment to healthcare, preparing the workforce of the future with the skills that employers need is crucial.
There has never been a time more important than right now to build a strong, sustainable, STEM-centric workforce in the US and around the world.
So if we want to continue to do what we're doing and continue to lead human spaceflight and human presence out into the solar system, we need to keep finding really good scientists and engineers.
We need to build creative thinkers. For us at Regeneron, inspiring people who think differently, who can really analyze the situation and bring a creative solution is just as important as the technical training.
Working together is critical. Building partnerships between corporations and K-12 schools, community colleges, and local industry, and engaging with policymakers at every level to support STEM.
As I said, the link to that video is in the chat box, so if you want to see the rest of it, I encourage you to do that. It is a good opportunity to see from a different perspective than we might sometimes be hearing why workforce development, why building STEM skills is important, and how we can be part of that in our communities, and how we can make a difference. All right, let's get back to the PowerPoint. All right, now I've kind of tried to build the argument about why we need to to provide STEM experiences and how those experiences are going to benefit young people and how they can connect to their school day experiences. But now I want to talk about what are some things that we can specifically do in after-school programs, and in particular, things that after-school programs are well positioned to do, maybe have more opportunities than schools do, to focus on engagement, identity, and inclusion in STEM experiences, and how these particular elements of the experience are important for young people. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some resources from Click to Science that can help you with this. There'll be links with the recording of the webinar to all these resources and some of the research we've already talked about. And I also included those links earlier in the chat box if you want to look at them specifically as we're going through the webinar. Out-of-school programs can start preparing children for this future by focusing on engagement, identity, inclusion, and the practices of STEM in the activities that they provide. And this needs to start in elementary school. For many programs, it is not enough just to tell their staff that they need to do more STEM. Programs need to provide staff with the resources to build their competence and confidence in leading high-quality STEM learning experiences. Just doing more STEM isn't going to be enough. To build skills, young people need purposeful learning experiences that focus on the skills that are going to make a difference for them in their future. So I'm going to highlight these resources from Click to Science PD that can help prepare staff to focus on these specific issues and aspects of STEM. They're going to help prepare young people for that future that we were just hearing about from the speakers in the video. The first one I want to talk about is engagement. Out-of-school time programs play an important role in their community, keeping children safe and helping them build positive connections with one another and with adults, and to learn and grow. Those are important roles, and I don't want to minimize them. But we can also bring those strengths in building relationships into the quality of the STEM opportunities we provide. Starting in elementary school, we can engage children in STEM experiences that help them grow and learn, help them see STEM in a positive way, and see themselves as someone who does STEM. As we keep them engaged, they're going to continue to have opportunities to learn, to grow, and have access to the STEM-based workforce and roles that we were talking about earlier. So the resources I am highlighting from the Click to Science website are the video learning module, Understanding Your Audience Needs, and the staff development guide, Our Perceptions of STEM. And these two resources can help your staff understand how and why they need to engage all learners in STEM experiences. But young people need more than just access to STEM in order to be part of this future. They need to see themselves as someone who has the skills and abilities that are needed to be successful in STEM. Developing a STEM identity, seeing themselves as someone who does STEM, someone who could be a future scientist, technician, nurse, engineer, plumber, computer programmer, or accountant, are important to young people. And of course, there's many other possible career paths that they could follow that would be highly satisfying to them and require STEM skills. So Click to Science has a variety of resources designed to help your staff support youth in developing a STEM identity. The ones I'm recommending you to start with are the Staff Development Guide, Everyday STEM, and the video learning module, Seeing Themselves in STEM. These will help staff understand what identity is and how they can foster that for young people. The next skill we want to focus on is inclusion. Out-of-school time programs have the potential to bridge the ethnic and gender gaps that are found in many STEM fields. Initiatives that have been established to increase the roles of women, people with disability, and minorities in STEM-related fields see out-of-school time programs as an important asset in this effort. And I think out-of-school time programs that solve those underrepresented communities have a particular role to play in engaging young people in quality STEM experiences. And it is critical that all participants in our programs have opportunities for STEM, that everyone is included, not just those who might choose to sign up for an after-school robotics, ecology, or coding club. So it may take some different strategies on the part of our staff to understand how they can include everyone in STEM experiences and help them develop these skills. So resources that will help in this area are the Staff Development Guide, Strategies for Making All Youth Feel Included, and the video Divvy, which is an excellent example of how you can empower young people in STEM and engage them using some different activities that might not be part of the usual repertoire of after-school staff. Finally, I want to highlight how important it is for young people to learn the practices of STEM, to actually do STEM and understand that what they're doing reflects what STEM professionals do in their work. So developing the skills and abilities for STEM comes naturally to young people as they engage in these practices of science and engineering in fun and engaging activities. And this is where some of the skills that employers have talked about, like communicating, critical thinking, working together as part of a team, and collaborating, problem solving, this is where these skills are developed as children use these skills as they're engaging in STEM activities. And the resources I'd recommend you start with to help staff understand how they can support the practices of STEM are the Staff Development Guide, Start with the Question, and the Video Learning Module, Testing Predictions and Using Models. These are all resources that you can use, that you can incorporate some engaging professional development experiences for your staff, and you can help them build the skills that are really going to make a difference for young people. Let me show you what these resources look like on the website. Get this a little bit easier to read on your screen. So let's see, let's look at strategies for making all youth feel included. So this is where you can go on our website, and again, we'll have links to here. This page gives you an overview of what is included in this professional development experience and how much time you're going to need. This is not something you need to dedicate a lot of time to. Spending some time every week on developing these skills for your staff is going to have a big impact. So this is something that's only going to take about 30 minutes to help staff see why it's important to make all youth feel included and give them some strategies that they can use to apply that in the programs they're leading. You can download the resource from the website here, and it also has links to other supporting resources. So I'm going to take us to a look at this video and just see what this looks like in action through one of the Click to Science videos. We're going to start by understanding what it is that Lamont is engaging the young people in. We're going to focus first on the activity that he's doing which is a Mission to Mars challenge. So let me start this. Oh, let me go back and make sure I've got sound enabled before we start the video. All right, now let's watch this video.
I just got a text from NASA. There's a Mars rover that's driving. It's stuck at a canyon. We have to build and design something that can transport a round object that looks similar to our mini basketball here from one surface, in our case a table, to another surface without any human intervention, meaning we can't touch it, can't kick it, blow it. You are the experts. I need you to tell me how we can make that work.
Watch as Lamont frames the Engineering Design Challenge as a real-world problem for youth to solve. Listen to the constraints of the challenge and notice how Lamont moves youth through the engineering design process as they design something to move the object from one surface to the other without human intervention.
Can we put it on there though to go down?
Okay, that was a good question. Everybody listen up. Can you put the object onto your device or whatever you're making? Yes, you can start a process. I need at least one person from each team to draw a design sketch. Excellent. They've already started their sketch.
Yeah, we should cut the boxes.
Yeah, we can the tube. This will be the tube.
How are you gonna, or where are you gonna place it on the box? I guess is a better question.
We're gonna make it like a flat surface.
Okay. And then just set it on the top?
Yeah.
Excellent. Who's ready to build? All our teams are ready to build. We're gonna use cardboard, not just any cardboard though. This is space cardboard, meaning it's very, very expensive, meaning we only get a little bit, so you gotta make it count.
Yeah, it is.
We have to use what we have, right? Make it work. You need to figure out how to make it work. Be mindful of how you're releasing your rover.
Our original plan was to fold this so it would stay up, so that when we put the ball, it would roll down like this.
All right, let's see it in action. Oh, that's close. Give it another try. Did a little bit. Let's try it. That was a valiant effort. That was actually a really good design. If you had more time and more materials, what would you do to complete your project?
Yeah, because the tape dries out when you're
We had Gorilla Tape before.
Yeah, so we noticed that the tape dries up. Your design, it works. You just need to secure some of those connections, I think, right? If you had some more time. Let's clap it up for this group right here. Good job.
Sorry, I've got too many windows open here on the webinar. So some things I notice about this experience that make it a high quality learning experience. The first thing I want to point out is that the way he valued failure in the experience is really important. That he didn't dismiss failure. He identified it as an experience to learn from. He was engaging all the students. He was letting them do the problem solving, the thinking. So there's some real important elements here of what makes this a high quality learning experience. And one of the things that we're watching for, particularly in this video, is how Lamont makes it an inclusive learning experience. How is it that he has all students involved, even if they don't necessarily think of themselves as somebody who is doing STEM or who's good at doing STEM. So now we have a second video that focuses on that skill of how he's including all learners in this process. So pay attention in this video. How does he make the engineering design process less intimidating for young people and make it more accessible to them? How does he increase the aspects and equity in the STEM experiences specifically by using Divi? And what is it? What is Divi? That's a process that he uses to engage young people. I want you to watch for that in the video and see how he's doing that, and then be prepared in a couple minutes to share in the chat box what you noticed in the video in terms of how he's getting all students included and giving them access to this experience, even if they don't necessarily see themselves as someone who does STEM. Now let me share that one more time. And now we're going to watch this second video.
Okay. Yo. Okay. One time, that's the end of the class. Hope you have fun. We had to learn real fast. Depending on the group, we generally try to tailor our activity to make sure that it's fitting their learning style. A lot of the young people that we serve come from impoverished communities. But one of the biggest tools that we use is the arts. Had to get the space tape, but it got dry. Across the board, the arts are able to really communicate in a way that really crosses generational, socioeconomic boundaries and things like that, and allows us to connect and really get to a place that they don't necessarily get to tap into in school.
An important part of out-of-school time learning is helping everyone feel like they belong. This is true for STEM activities also. Watch as Lamond uses a song to break the engineering process down into steps that are accessible and fun for youth.
Who remembers the engineering design process? What's the D stand for? What's the D stand for?
Define.
Define. Yeah, first we define the problem, right? What's the I?
Imagine.
Yes. Imagine, we brainstorm. What is the V? You almost said it. Vision, yes. What's the first E after we get our vision? Execution. Execute. Now, after we execute our plan, what's the last E? Yes. And what's enhance mean? To improve or make something better. Somebody say Divi Divi what?
Divi Divi what?
Say Divi Divi who?
Divi Divi who?
Say Divi Divi what?
Divi Divi what?
Say Divi Divi you?
Divi Divi you?
The word engineering can be intimidating. What we do, we made it into a song. So the initial lesson, right, if I'm working with a new group of learners, and I want them to understand that what we're doing is engineering, I start with going through the process. The goal is to get them to remember it, so I don't have to say it again. And we do that by presenting them with the acronym. We use Divi. And this is based on the same process that the engineers at NASA are using every day. It's a 5-step process, D-I-V-E-E, and then we get into our chant. Divi what, Divi who, Divi what, Divi who, and then they start to kind of disassociate it with it just being engineering. And I really am intentional about telling them, hey, like, this is just a process. You can use this here in our activities, or if you're having a problem or something that you're trying to solve outside of this, think about this process and think about how you're going to get to a solution.
All right, what did you notice in the video? What are some strategies that he's using that make this a more inclusive learning experience? Share your ideas in the chat box. In particular, Lamont mentioned that a lot of the students that he's working with are coming from impoverished neighborhoods, that they haven't had a lot of experiences like this. So how does he engage them? He picked up that music was an area that the young people were interested in, and he used that as a hook to engage them and also to help them remember. When you put it in a song, it makes it more memorable, and it makes it something they feel more comfortable with. He used open-ended questions. He engage them in making the music, the rhythm. They were the music, and that got everybody involved. One of the things I love in that video is he's talking, and the kids have the iPads in front of them, and some of them are really, really distracted by that iPad. Doesn't mean they're not learning. I think they're still learning on the iPad, but they're not really paying attention to him until he starts the divvy chant, and then everyone is focused again. That's the way that he connects with them, and he engages them and makes everyone feel included. They are all being engineers, and he helps them realize that they are using the same strategies that engineers at NASA are using every day to solve the problems that they face. So our goal with these activities is to help young people learn the practices of science, to understand what scientists, engineers, mathematicians do in their work, and to understand that they can do those things. To have everyone feel included in those experiences, to keep them engaged in these experiences, to keep them in that pipeline so that they continue to develop the skills that they're going to need for a STEM workforce of the future, and to help them develop that identity so they see themselves as someone who does STEM. Let me go back now to our PowerPoint. All right. So I'm just going to back up just a minute to remind you. We talked about engaging in STEM so that they, starting in elementary school and on through high school, to keep them engaged in this process so they're continuing to build those skills and preparing for the future. This is going to be a part of their future. No matter what they're doing, STEM is going to be important to them, so we need to keep them engaged in STEM. We want young people to develop an identity to see themselves as someone who can use science, technology, engineering, and math to solve problems, to collaborate with others, and to make a difference in the world. We want all young people to be included, and particularly young people who've been underrepresented in STEM fields. This is children with physical disabilities, girls in particular, non-white children, children from Hispanic backgrounds, children from African American backgrounds, refugee children. All of these groups have been underrepresented in STEM, and our STEM solutions that we are developing today are not as strong because we don't have all these voices in STEM helping us solve problems. So we need to get a diverse STEM workforce with diverse voices and experiences and points of view. That's going to be important to our future, because the more diverse our workforce is, the better they're going to be at solving the problems that are going to be really important to us. And finally, we want them to be actually doing the practices of science, to be solving problems, designing new ideas, inquiry investigations, where they're collecting data, taking measurements, actually using these practices and engaging in the problem solving the same way that scientists and professionals do every day. And finally, we want them to be innovators, because they're going to be the innovators of our future. And we missed it for this webinar, but I want to point out National STEM Day is November 8th, and it will be November 8th again next year. It's a great day to focus on innovation in STEM, or in STEAM, with a little bit of art thrown in there as well. Here's my final words for you about how you apply this. The question is always, when I work with after-school programs, where do we start? What do we do first? And my answer is the most important thing is that you do start. It's not particularly important where you start as long as you start and move down this pathway. So you need to let the staff and the volunteers, whoever's working with you in your after-school program, know why STEM is important and how it matters to young people. And you are welcome to use this webinar or sections of it to help them understand why STEM is so important. And then I encourage you to look over the resources that we've shared today and choose one of those, just one, to start with your staff. I don't care which one you choose as a starting place, but the important thing again is to start and then to keep going down this pathway. And after you say you decide to start with inclusion, then after you feel like your staff are ready and on board with the idea of including all students in their STEM experiences, then maybe focus on some engagement and help them see how it's important to keep that engagement long term and just keep building these one after another. I really do believe that the solution is with out-of-school programs, that we can make a difference in preparing young people for a future that is different than what we have today, that we can't really predict. We don't know what skills they're going to need in the future, but we know that they're going to need to be innovative, that they're going to need to be critical thinkers and problem solvers. And so those are the skills we can help them learn through STEM. Here's my contact information, sfrerix3@unl.edu. If you have any questions about the content that we've presented in this webinar, or in fact any of our other webinars, feel free to contact me. If you would like to get some ideas about how you can specifically use Click to Science in your program, I can help you design a professional development plan that's going to really meet the needs of your staff. If you're interested in learning about the customized resources that Click to Science can create that are unique for your program and your own needs, feel free to reach out to us, connect with us, and we will be happy to have those conversations with you. I also invite you to follow us on social media. We're active on Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest if you want to see what's new and what's coming up from Click to Science. Thank you once again for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you next month.